Switch has built one of the best single-player libraries in gaming history. Some of these games you've heard of, some you might have slept on. All of them are worth playing. Here are 25 of the best. Let's get into it. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. The story begins on a small island where the hero and his friends uncover mysterious stone fragments that transport them through time, revealing a world whose lost continents have vanished from history. As they travel between the past and present, they restore forgotten lands, help people facing unique struggles, and slowly uncover the truth behind an ancient evil threatening the world. Gameplay combines traditional turn-based battles with modern improvements, including visible enemies, faster combat, and streamlined progression. A major highlight is the deep vocation system, allowing characters to switch classes, learn new abilities, and create powerful combinations that suit different playstyles. With its charming world, rewarding character growth, and dozens of interconnected stories that make every region feel unique, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined delivers a lengthy and engaging RPG journey that perfectly captures the timeless appeal of the Dragon Quest series. Mina the Hollower feels like someone took the best parts of classic Game Boy Zelda games and rebuilt them from scratch with modern polish. You play as Mina, a Hollower, basically a professional monster hunter who can drill underground to dodge attacks and move through the world. That burrowing mechanic is the core of everything. Combat, exploration, puzzle solving, it all revolves around going underground and coming back up at the right moment. The game is set on a cursed island called Lemuria, and the whole vibe is dark, gothic, and a little creepy in the best way. Pixel art is gorgeous, the soundtrack is excellent. Each area has its own dungeon with a boss at the end, and difficulty feels fair but challenging. It's not too long, not too short. If you love tight action-adventure games or grew up playing classic Zelda handheld titles, Mina the Hollower is absolutely worth your time on Switch. Super Mario RPG started as a scene classic in the 90s, and Nintendo remade it for Switch with updated 3D visuals while keeping everything that made the original great. The story kicks off with Bowser kidnapping Peach. Classic setup, but things go sideways fast when a giant sword crashes into the castle and kicks everyone out. Mario ends up teaming up with unexpected allies, including Bowser himself, to deal with a new threat. Combat is turn-based, but has a timing mechanic where pressing buttons at the right moment deals bonus damage or blocks attacks. It keeps every fight active instead of just watching numbers. The party system is small, but each character plays very differently. The writing has genuine humor throughout and never takes itself too seriously. It's a remake that respects the original while making it feel fresh, short enough to finish in a weekend and fun the entire way through. Sea of Stars. You follow two kids, Valir and Zael, trained as solstice warriors who can harness the power of the sun and moon to fight monsters. Their mission is to stop an alchemist's creations from destroying the world. The turn-based combat is the heart of the game, and it's more engaging than most RPGs. Enemies have locks you break by hitting specific attack types, and there's a timed hit system for attacks and blocking that keeps you involved every turn. The world is huge and full of towns, dungeons, and secrets. The pixel art is some of the best you'll see on Switch. Water reflections, lighting effects, it looks stunning. Side quests actually feel worth doing. There's a fishing minigame that's weirdly relaxing. The story builds to real emotional moments without being overdramatic. Sea of Stars delivers a complete, satisfying RPG experience that earns every hour you put into it. Portal and Portal 2 together in one package on Switch, and both games hold up incredibly well. The first Portal drops you into a testing facility run by an AI named GLaDOS and gives you a gun that creates two linked portals on surfaces. Walk into one, come out the other. Simple idea, but the puzzles get surprisingly clever. Portal 2 takes everything further with new mechanics like gels that make you run faster or bounce higher. Plus, a full story with more characters and a lot of genuine humor. GLaDOS alone is worth playing these for. Puzzle design never feels cheap. Every solution makes sense once you figure it out. Portal 1 is short, maybe 3 to 4 hours, tight and focused. Portal 2 is much longer and goes deeper with its story. Playing both back-to-back on Switch is a great experience. These are games that make you feel genuinely smart, and the moment-to-moment gameplay of thinking with portals never gets old. Katana ZERO is a fast, brutal, stylish action game where you play as a samurai assassin who can slow down time and dies in a single hit. Every level is a puzzle. Look at the room, plan your approach, execute it perfectly, or start over. Slow motion lets you dodge bullets, deflect projectiles, and cut through enemies in one smooth run. When it clicks, it feels incredible. The story runs through dialogue between missions, and it's genuinely gripping. You play as Zero, a guy with a mysterious past being fed a drug that gives him visions of his own death. There's a conspiracy unraveling in the background, and the narrative takes real, unexpected turns. You can interrupt NPCs mid-conversation, which changes how scenes play out. The pixel art has this heavy, neon noir atmosphere that feels distinct, and the synth-heavy soundtrack is tense and excellent. Each level is short but demands a lot. Katana ZERO is the kind of game you blast through in one sitting because you simply can't put it down. NieR Automata is one of those games that sticks with you long after you're done. You play as androids, starting with 2B and later 9S, fighting machines on a post-apocalyptic Earth while humanity lives on the moon. Combat is fast and fluid, mixing melee and shooting, but the genre shifts constantly. Sometimes it becomes a top-down shooter, sometimes a side-scroller, sometimes something else entirely. The real hook is the story. You need to complete the game multiple times from different perspectives to get the full picture, and each playthrough reveals things that completely reframe what you saw before. It asks big questions about consciousness, purpose, and what it means to be alive, without being preachy. The world is hauntingly beautiful. Abandoned cities, forests, amusement parks, all wrapped in a melancholic atmosphere. The music is stunning. The Switch version runs well and includes all DLC. NieR Automata is weird, emotional, and genuinely unlike anything else.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown caught a lot of people off guard because it came back as a 2D Metroidvania and absolutely nailed the format. You play as Sargon, a young warrior sent to rescue the kidnapped prince from a cursed mountain called Mount Kof. As you explore, you gain time-based powers, slowing enemies, dashing through space, leaving shadow copies of yourself, and these abilities open up new areas and combat options. The movement feels incredibly tight. Every jump, dodge, and attack is responsive. Combat has real depth without being overwhelming. Boss fights are excellent. Each one teaches you something new and demands smart use of your abilities. The map is massive and full of secrets, collectibles, and optional areas that reward exploration. The story has solid world building around Persian mythology and keeps you interested throughout. The visual style is vivid and clean, running smoothly on Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is a massive JRPG, and it earns every hour of its runtime. The story follows soldiers from two opposing nations, Kevs and Agnes, who suddenly team up after uncovering a dark truth about the world they live in. The setting is Ionios, a world where people are born to fight and live short lives. Combat is real-time, but highly strategic, built around class roles, chain attacks, and a fusion mechanic that lets two party members combine into a powerful Ouroboros form. 6 party members active at once, each with swappable and customizable roles. It takes a few hours to fully open up, but once it does, it's hard to stop. The world is gorgeous and enormous, with tons of side content, colonies to liberate, quests to complete, heroes to recruit. Each hero adds new classes and story context. The main story hits genuinely emotional beats. Xenoblade 3 is a commitment, but it's one of the most rewarding RPG experiences on Switch. Pokémon Legends Arceus is the most different the mainline Pokémon experience has ever felt. Set in ancient Hisui, the region that becomes Sinnoh, you're a researcher sent back in time to create the world's first Pokédex. Instead of just battling, you actually sneak through tall grass and throw Pokeballs directly at Pokémon in the wild. Some you catch without battling at all. The world is split into large open zones, with Pokémon roaming freely at different aggression levels. Alpha Pokémon are massive and genuinely threatening. Completing Pokédex research tasks levels your rank and unlocks new areas. The story has a mysterious tone centered around the legendary Pokémon Arceus and builds to a surprisingly epic climax. The research loop is addictive. You keep wanting to fill out just one more entry. It's rough around the technical edges, but the gameplay loop is so fresh, it doesn't matter much. Legends Arceus showed that Pokémon can genuinely evolve, and fans responded.
Link's Awakening on Switch is a remake of the 1993 Game Boy Classic, rebuilt in a dreamy, toy-like art style that makes the whole thing look like a diorama. You play as Link, washed ashore on a mysterious island called Koholint after a shipwreck. The island is charming and full of quirky characters, but there's something strange about it, a mystery that slowly unravels as you complete dungeons and collect instruments. Classic Zelda structure. Top-down exploration, dungeons with puzzles and a boss, items that open new areas. The dungeon design is clever, and each one introduces fresh mechanics. There's a dungeon creator mode where you build custom dungeons using rooms collected throughout the game. The remake adds smooth controls and a beautiful visual overhaul without losing what made the original great. The story is short, but has a genuinely touching ending. If you want a focused, beautiful Zelda experience that doesn't overstay its welcome, this is it. Metroid Prime Remastered takes one of the greatest games ever made and presents it in a way that feels completely current. You play as Samus Aran, a bounty hunter exploring a ruined alien world called Talon 4 after a distress signal leads her there. It's first-person exploration and combat, but it's not a shooter, it's a Metroidvania. You scan everything around you to piece together the planet's history, find enemy weaknesses, and absorb the lore. As you find upgrades, new beam weapons, the morph ball, the grapple hook, previously blocked areas open up. The atmosphere is incredible. Frozen tundra, volcanic caverns, ancient ruins, every zone has a distinct identity. Boss fights are well designed and satisfying. The remaster adds modern dual-stick controls that make the whole thing feel completely natural, and the visual upgrade is stunning while respecting the original art direction. Metroid Prime Remastered is one of the best things available on Switch. Full stop. Persona 4 Golden is a JRPG set in a small, rural Japanese town where murders keep happening, connected to a mysterious TV world. You play as a high school student who moves to Inaba and discovers he can enter televisions and rescue people thrown inside. You build a team who can summon personas, manifestations of their inner selves, and fight through themed dungeons. But Persona 4 is as much a social sim as an RPG. Every day, you choose how to spend time: studying, building relationships, working part-time jobs. These social links power up your personas and reveal deep character stories. The cast is genuinely likable, and every character arc is well-written and emotional. The murder mystery at the center keeps building, and the small town setting gives the whole game a warm, cozy atmosphere. The calendar system creates a rhythm that makes you feel genuinely connected to the world. Persona 4 Golden is a long game, but it rarely feels like it. Bayonetta 2 is pure action game excellence. You play as Bayonetta, an Umbra witch with guns strapped to her heels and the ability to summon demons using her own hair. The combat system is one of the deepest ever put in an action game. Chain combos, dodge at the last second to trigger Witch Time, which slows everything around you, then unleash massive demon summons and torture attacks on enemies. The skill ceiling is high, but the game eases you in well. The story takes you across multiple realms, chasing a threat tied to a demon realm called Inferno. Locations are varied and visually creative. Boss fights are frequent and enormous in scale. The game moves fast and never lets up. It constantly surprises you with new enemy types and environments. Bayonetta 2 is exclusive to Nintendo platforms, and there's genuinely nothing else on Switch that plays quite like it.
If you want the best pure action game on the console in terms of feel and mechanics, this is your answer. Skyrim on Switch is exactly what it sounds like. The full, open-world RPG experience in your hands, anywhere you go. You play as the Dragonborn, a hero who can absorb dragon souls and use powerful shouts called Thuum. The main quest involves stopping an ancient dragon from destroying the world, but that's almost secondary to everything else. The world is enormous and packed with dungeons, towns, factions, side quests, and random encounters. Join the Companions, join the Thieves Guild, become an Archmage or an Assassin. The game rarely forces you anywhere. Character building is freeform. Skills level up by using them, and you shape your build naturally over time. The Switch version includes motion controls for archery and works surprisingly well in handheld. It's not the prettiest version, but it's the most portable, and that counts for a lot. Skyrim is a sandbox you can pour hundreds of hours into and still find new things. It's been released on everything for a reason. Unicorn Overlord is a tactical RPG that feels like a lost classic from the SNES era, brought back with modern sensibilities. You play as Alan, a prince reclaiming his kingdom after a corrupted general seized power. The world is a large map you explore in real time, liberating towns and building your forces. Combat happens when squads meet, you set up formations, and assign each unit's tactics ahead of time, then watch battles play out automatically based on your decisions. The depth of squad building and tactic setting is impressive. Finding the right unit combinations and countering enemy formations gives it a puzzle-like quality. Dozens of recruitable characters, each with unique classes and roles. Multiple nations to liberate, each with its own story flavor. The art is clean and beautiful. Battles are quick to watch so the pacing stays sharp. Unicorn Overlord rewards strategic thinking without being punishing, and it absolutely deserved more attention than it got at launch.
Enjoy this.
How's this? Victory is ours!
Luigi's Mansion 3 is one of the most polished and enjoyable games Nintendo has put out, and the best entry in the series. Luigi and his friends check into a fancy hotel that turns out to be a haunted trap set by King Boo. Armed with his poltergust vacuum, Luigi explores the hotel floor by floor, each one themed differently, from a pirate ship deck to an Egyptian tomb, capturing ghosts and solving puzzles along the way. A new mechanic lets you deploy Gooigi, a slime clone of Luigi, to solve puzzles requiring two characters at once. The ghost catching is satisfying in a tactile way. Flash them, stun them, grab them with the vacuum, slam them around to drain their health. Each floor has a boss ghost with its own personality and gimmick. Level design is incredibly creative and constantly surprising. The game is funny, charming, and packed with production value. Accessible enough for anyone, but never boring for experienced players.
Oh, yes!
Octopath Traveler 2 refines everything the first game did into something much more cohesive and emotionally resonant. Choose from 8 travelers, each from a different part of the world with their own profession, backstory, and story chapters, and explore the world of Solistia. Each traveler has unique path actions for interacting with NPCs. Some can challenge anyone to a fight, some can bribe for information, some can guide people somewhere. Day and night change which actions are available. The turn-based combat runs on a boost and break system. Weaken enemies by hitting elemental weak points. Break them to unleash powered-up damage. Strategic without being overwhelming. The visual style is HD 2D pixel art sprites layered over 3D environments with cinematic lighting, and it looks stunning. The 8 stories range from dark revenge arcs to political intrigue to personal redemption, and they intersect more meaningfully in this sequel.
Prepare yourself. My blade sings.
Astral Chain is from Platinum Games, the Bayonetta team, and it does something genuinely unique with its combat. You play as a rookie officer in a futuristic city under threat from interdimensional creatures called chimeras. You're bonded to a captured chimera called a legion, and combat involves controlling both your character and your legion simultaneously. Fight side by side, chain enemies, use the legion to block and attack from different angles while you strike from another. Switching between legion types mid-combat Each with different specialties, like melee, range, or crowd control, adds serious depth. Outside combat, there's actual police work, investigating crime scenes, talking to citizens, solving puzzles. That investigative side contrasts nicely with the wild action. The cyberpunk aesthetic is well executed, and the story escalates into genuinely intense territory. The dual-character combat system is unlike anything else in gaming, and once it clicks, it feels brilliant. Silksong follows Hornet, a side character from the original Hollow Knight, as she wakes up in a new insect kingdom called Farloom. Unlike the original, Hornet is fast and agile. She uses a needle and thread to attack, bind enemies, and swing across gaps. The game is built around the same Metroidvania structure as its predecessor, but feels completely different because of how differently Hornet controls. Farloom is full of strange creatures, intricate environments, and a mysterious tower she's climbing toward. The lore is layered and cryptic in the way the first game was, but designed to be approachable on its own. New mechanics include a crafting system using materials gathered from enemies, and dozens of unique abilities to discover. Boss fights are precise and demanding, testing everything you've learned. The art is gorgeous, and the atmosphere is dense and melancholic throughout. Team Cherry has spent years building this, and every area is dripping with craft. Super Mario Odyssey is one of the best 3D platformers ever made, and the crown jewel of the Switch launch era. Mario has a new ally, Cappy, a sentient hat, and together they travel the world chasing Bowser, who has kidnapped Peach for a forced wedding. The central mechanic is possession. Throw Cappy onto enemies, objects, and creatures and take control of them. Become a Goomba, a tank, a T-Rex, a frog, a stack of Goombas. The variety is wild. Each kingdom has its own visual theme, movement options, and a large collection of power moons to find. The movement itself is incredibly expressive. Mario can wall jump, roll, dive, and chain movements in ways that reward experimentation. Finding moons is the whole game, but they're hidden in genuinely clever places that make discovery feel exciting. Generous enough for casual players, deep enough for skilled ones. Post-game content is extensive. Super Mario Odyssey captures pure joy from start to finish. Fire Emblem Three Houses is a tactical RPG set in a military academy called Garreg Mach, where you play as Byleth, a mercenary who becomes a professor. 3 student houses, each representing different noble factions, are yours to choose from. The first half is spent teaching students, managing their growth, training skills, and building relationships. Then, a time skip hits and everything changes. Battles are grid-based tactical combat, where positioning, weapon types, and terrain matter. The story branches dramatically based on which house you chose, 4 distinct routes with different casts, perspectives, and endings. Characters are well written, and many of them shift between ally and antagonist depending on your path. The support system builds relationships that deepen each character's backstory. The monastery management can feel repetitive at times, but the payoff in story and character arcs is enormous. Ori and the Blind Forest hits you immediately, on 2 levels. It looks breathtaking, and it plays beautifully. You control Ori, a small spirit creature separated from their guardian in a dying forest. The world of Nibel is decaying, and Ori must restore it by reactivating the elemental spirits that sustain the land. Movement grows as you find abilities: wall jumping, dashing, double jumping, climbing, and the platforming gets progressively more demanding and creative. Escape sequences are pure adrenaline. You run, jump, and react to a collapsing environment with everything you have. The Soul Link system lets you save anywhere by spending energy, creating interesting decisions about when it's safe to rest. The art is otherworldly, using painterly visuals and glowing light that make every screen look like a piece of art. The music by Gareth Coker is phenomenal and matches every emotional beat. The story is simple, but genuinely moving. Persona 5 Royal is a long, stylish, mechanically deep JRPG that earns its reputation as one of the best games of its generation. You play as a high school student framed for a crime he didn't commit, living on probation in Tokyo. You and a group of friends discover the ability to enter palaces, distorted worlds representing the corrupted minds of corrupt adults, and steal the treasures at their core to force confessions. Turn-based combat is built around exploiting elemental weaknesses to trigger all-out attacks. Personas are summoned and fused into stronger forms as you level up. Palace designs are creative, and each reflects the psychology of its ruler. It's also a social sim, managing time in Tokyo between school, part-time jobs, and confidant relationships. Every confidant gives gameplay bonuses and tells a meaningful, personal story. Royal adds a third semester that extends the story with new content throughout.
Persona. Go down!
Breath of the Wild changed what open-world games could be. You wake up as Link, with no memory, a ruined kingdom spread before you, and near complete freedom from the very first minute. The world of Hyrule is enormous, and built for exploration without a checklist. Climb almost any surface, glide anywhere you can see, cook food to survive, and approach every obstacle however you choose. Shrines are mini-dungeons scattered across the world, each one a self-contained physics or combat puzzle that rewards creative thinking. The physics engine runs deep. Fire spreads with wind, metal conducts electricity, wooden weapons burn. Nearly every problem has multiple solutions, and the game never tells you which one is right. Divine beasts serve as the main dungeons, each controlled by a corrupted guardian. The story of Calamity Ganon and what happened 100 years prior unfolds through memories scattered across the world, giving exploration emotional weight.
That's 25 games, all of them worth your time on Switch. Drop your personal favorite in the comments below. If this helped you find your next game, hit subscribe. See you in the next one.